Alright guys, we've got a little tiny chip right here, and I'm going to have to open it up so that we can get some resin in there, because those lines are so thin, you know it's not going to fill properly. So I just told the customer that when I do this kind of stuff, it could possibly crack, and he said okay. But if I don't open it up, I know it's not going to take any resin. So we're going to open it, and I don't mean open it by drilling it either. Of course we're going to drill it, and then we're going to pop it. And you guys have seen me do this before on video. Just my thing. I think I'm the only person that does this. I've never met or even heard of anybody else
doing it this way,
opening a chip like this. I've never seen anybody do it. I've never heard of anybody doing it. And there it is. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
See how those lines opened up?
Yeah.
And you see that little circle in the middle?
Mm-hmm.
That allows me to get resin into those lines. But see, even tapping on it that light could cause it to crack. But I know how deep to drill to get it to open up like that. It's something I've been doing for a while, and I just prefer doing it that way so I know I can get it filled. Alright, customers happy that it didn't crack.
Absolutely.
So I make these videos because I want people to see what I'm capable of. Not only that, I want people to see that you can't be afraid of the glass, you know. There's every time you touch a windshield, you're taking a chance on it cracking. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if all you do is put a little resin in it. You're taking a chance on it cracking when you put resin in it. We're going to use the windshield is just neutral, so we're going to use the CR resin because it's a little thinner and I think it'll fill those lines better. 6 drops. That ought to be enough. So how long has that chip been in the windshield?
I don't know. I just got the car from my mom this weekend because she sold it to me or whatever, the car, and then I was like, oh, there's a chip in it, and I'm like, did you get this filled? And she's like, no, I didn't even know it was there. So
she didn't even see it?
I guess not.
Well, maybe she saw it. Well, see, what happens is when you first get a windshield chip, you see it, and you're like, oh, I got to get that filled. And then you see it the next time you get in the car, and the next time, and pretty soon your eyes just start ignoring it because you haven't got it filled yet, so your eyes just look through it, and you're like, you know, go on with life because you never got it filled. So your mind goes, okay, well, I'm obviously not going to get that chip filled, so I'm just going to ignore it. So then you just forget it's there. I don't think I can make the lines 100% invisible, but the point is to get enough resin in it to keep it from cracking.
Yep, that's the hope. Don't want any further because I can see it was kind of starting to grow or whatever.
I could see the one leg, the upper leg, was a little longer than the bottom leg, but sometimes, you know, that's just the way chips are.
Yep.
I mean, sometimes they just do that. I do so many varieties of chips, it would just blow your mind. I just did a chip on a Tesla that the guy was told by several companies that can't be repaired. Of course, they want to replace that $3,500 windshield.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And they don't want to take the time to repair it because if it takes 20 minutes to repair it, or they can replace the windshield in that same amount of time,
Make a lot more money off of it.
and you make $2,000 off the windshield, or $1,500 off the windshield, or $70 to repair the chip, which way are you going to try to push the customer? So that's why I'm very happy that I don't sell windshields. I've had companies that have offered me great money to come to work for them, or to partner with them, I should say. And I just won't do it because they sell windshields. And I am not going to get myself in a position where I feel like I'm I'm not going to test my integrity. In other words, I'm not going to do that to myself, because even the most honest person will take the easy road if it makes them more money.
Yeah, if you're, like you said, if it's 20 minutes or 20 minutes, like whatever the case may be, it's like, I'm going to go this route.
Right. So even good people that, you know, are fairly honest and stuff will still try to sell you a windshield if they're going to make more money off of it, because to them it's about the bank account. And for me, it's about integrity and just doing a good job for my customers and making sure that they don't have to replace their windshields. So that bottom line, I can see when I pull a vacuum on it, it looks like it's full, but then when I pressurize, I think it's just the pressure opening it, causing it to open a little bit. Because when I pressurize it, it doesn't look like it's got enough resin in it, but then when I pull a vacuum, it looks like it's full. But we're going to pressurize it one more time just to make sure, because I want to make it as invisible as possible. But I also don't want to crack your windshield by putting too much pressure on a little tiny thin line, because it's like, I try to explain it to people, it's like that's about 40 psi on that little thin line right now, forcing that resin in. And that's like trying to put 1,000 psi through a garden hose.
Okay, yeah, that would definitely potentially do some damage then.
Yeah, if you're not careful, it'll pop, and it'll put so much pressure on it that the line just says, okay, I can't stand this anymore, and it'll just go. And that's the one thing we don't want to do. And I've been doing this long enough, as you can see, the lines are gone.
There it is. Woo-hoo. How about that, huh?
Isn't that pretty? That's pretty, huh?
Solid.
So if I wouldn't have opened it up the way I did, I would not have got that good a fill on it. It just wouldn't have filled in that good. I couldn't have got the resin in the lines the way I did. I had a lady the other day was telling me that $35 was expensive. And I said, I'm not expensive. And she goes, yeah, I used to get it for $20. And I said, yeah, 20 years ago.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's...
I'm half the price of everybody else right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everybody else is 70 or more.
Wow.
They all raised their prices during the pandemic and during the shipping shortage. And I was smart enough that as soon as I knew those ships were all clogged up in the Panama Canal or whatever, I ordered 10 bottles of resin immediately. Because I was like, okay, you know, most of our shipping comes through there. So I jumped on the website and I ordered 10 bottles. And I got them within a few days.
That's a smart way.
And I already keep enough seals and stuff for my tools to be able to replace my seals. So I was good to go.
Ready to rock at that point.
But I understood that, you know, replacing windshields, they're limited on their supply anyway. So they couldn't just order, you know, 1,000 windshields or whatever.
Yep.
But I never could understand why they raised their prices for repairing windshield chips. Yep. I think, I have a theory, and that theory is that because they couldn't replace the windshields, they absolutely had to fix chips. So they thought, well, since we can't replace the windshields because we don't have enough to replace them, let's go ahead and fix the chips, but let's gouge the customers for that money so we can make more money, and, you know, we just won't tell the customer that we don't have the windshield to replace it.
Yeah,
we'll just gouge them for the chip repair.
Yep.
And then once that was over and everybody started getting their supplies again, they just never dropped their prices.
Yeah, why backpedal at that point when that's the case?
And my prices stayed the same.
Maintained.
Yep.
That's good.
Well, then after she told me that I was expensive, she was like, $35, you take 15 minutes. $35, you do 4 an hour, that's more than I make. And I was like, I don't do 4 an hour. I have drive time.
Yeah, I know. If there's a,
you know,
if you had a lot, fill up the, you know, if we had 8 cars here, obviously, like, that's great, you know, but.
Yeah, which is what I do most of the time. I tell people, if you're going to call me and have me come to your work, see if any of your coworkers need repairs while I'm there.
You know, it just dawned on me that, like, as I was like, as I was out here, I'm like, man, I wish I would have put out like a message that just said, hey, anybody else is looking to get their, you know, windshield repaired or whatever. I guess I should have asked you or whatever.
Well, I normally tell people that if I know I'm going to their work, I'll text them and say, hey, by the way, can you see if any of your coworkers need repairs while I'm there? And that way, if they text me back and say, yeah, 3 others do, then I know how to schedule myself for the next job after that, because I can do those 4 in one job.
Yep.
And I did the other day. Had a lady text me, and she was like, she says, I need a chip repair, but I'm not going to be home. And I said, well, I can come to your work. And she was like, really? I was like, yeah. She was like, can you come on Friday? I was like, it's only Tuesday. I can come tomorrow. And she was like, well, I don't work. I'm just going to be doing other stuff. And I won't be home. But I won't be at work till Friday. And I said, well, I can come on Friday. I said, but while I'm there, I mean, you know, can you see if anybody else needs repairs done if I'm coming to your work? She says, yeah, I'll text you back. So she texted me back an hour later, and she goes, I put out a message on the community board, and 5 other people said they needed chip repairs done if you can do them while you're there. And I said, yeah, that's great, you know.
So if you're going to be down this way sometime, let me know, and I can obviously throw out a message too in mine. I'm happy to, if you want to try to do like a second.
Well, you know, I do come to Riverton quite a bit.
Okay.
It's odd because I didn't start off getting a lot of business in Riverton, but now I just get a lot of business in Riverton. And that's, you know, a 30-minute ride for me. All right, guys, there you go. Look at that. Beautiful repair. It looks like a little bug splatter now. Gorgeous, right?
Absolutely.
Did you think it could be that invisible?
No, I really didn't. I was just hoping that it would just be stuck, but wow.
It's all about experience. Being able to pop that chip and open it up.
Top notch.
I couldn't have made it that invisible if I wouldn't have done that. That's a beautiful repair. I'm happy with it.
Me too.
Right on.
Another happy customer.
Will you give me a review? Tell everybody how happy you are?
Absolutely.
All right. I'll send you a link.
Awesome.
Where did you find me? On Google?
No, I had the guy tint my windows, and I said, "Hey, I'd like,
oh right,
do you do chip repairs at all?" And he's like, "No, but you should do this guy. He's the best." And so I was like,
what was his name? Can you remember?
Yeah, because I got the message here.
Because I can't remember the guy's name, but I've done several chip repairs for him.
Joe is his name.
Joe. I know Joe. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he was really great.
Yeah.
He was quick, he was fast, so I'm really happy with the work that he...
I've tried sending people to him for window tint, you know, but I can only recommend.
Yeah,
you know.
He was one of those guys where he's like, probably take me just a little over an hour, and he texted me like 45 minutes later. All done, ready to go. So
wow.
Sweet.
Cool.
So above and beyond as far
Did a
as
good job.
Yeah.
Did you just have the front tinted?
The front one, yeah.
I can tell because the back ones are a little
different, yeah.
Little different, yeah. Right on. All right, guys, you know what to do. Hit the like button, click the subscribe button, share the video, and throw me some love. I'll see you in the next one.